is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com.
First there was the original.
I thought it might be nice for kids. Keep them off the street, you know.
Then the basic.
This is a simple game.
Then the first version of the advanced.
Good, clean, wholesome fun.
Now the hammer comes down. Welcome to THACO's Hammer, the best damn second edition AD&D podcast ever. Hiya, folks. Remember us, THACO's Hammer, the 2E guys. We're going to be bringing you another show of 2E goodness. And, of course, I'm DM Glen. I'm here with DM Full On Gamer.
Full On Gamer in the house for the Gamer Nation and D20 Radio and all other sundries.
Okay. Oh, as you heard, DM Brian's here, too.
Good evening, folks. How you doing out there, gamers?
And DM Brian's going to pretty much take the lead on this show because this is all about Mystara.
That's right.
But first, hits and crits.
What are you doing tonight? I don't know. What are you doing tonight? The burlesque, Louie's Paradise, miserable and lonely and stupid. What am I, crazy or something? I got something good here. What am I hanging around with you guys for?
Hits and crits. All right, hits and crits. What's going on in the gaming world this week with you guys, huh? Or the world, for that matter. I mean,
well, aside from, this is my Bataan Working Death March Part 2. The first one I worked 11 days in a row. This one I'm working 18.
We're just discussing the merits of different energy drinks.
Yeah, and Coca-Cola is my friend, and if I really need one, Livewire Mountain Dew is my go-to.
Well, finally, a Mountain Dew I can drink.
Oh, amen to that. Although I wish they would just put out the black grape and keep it out.
Yeah. See, I like the Mountain Dew with the flavors in it because this sounds sacrilegious, but as a gamer, I don't like Mountain Dew. I drink one. That's about it. But if they put the flavors in it, it makes it tolerable.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
My poison of choice is Pepsi Throwback for the win. Yeah.
Yeah, with real cane sugar, yes.
With real cane sugar. I even tasted the Throwback Mountain Dew. I don't even like that.
Well, it hasn't changed all that much,
Really? Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I remember the old school Mountain Dew. The taste has not changed at all in like 30 years.
Yeah, I believe it. Even with real sugar, it still tastes.
Yeah.
I remember drinking it in the green bottles where they had a picture of a hillbilly shooting another hillbilly running up the hill.
I remember that.
And if you noticed on the top of the hill, he was heading for an outhouse.
Yes.
And then I saw what the color of the drink was, and it's like, this makes sense now.
Yep.
I'm not drinking this stuff now. I know where it comes from.
Exactly.
How about you, Full On? What you been up to?
Got to have a wonderful long army day yesterday, leaping out of airplanes in the dark of night over a snowy field.
All that just to find the guy who ripped you off in your garage?
Still hunting for that bastard. We'll see what happens. But he's got to watch his back and watch the skies.
Yeah.
Other than that, I had my early Christmas present was the Master Sergeant Select list for the active duty Army was published this week, and I have sequence number 6, so I should be a Master Sergeant within the next 2 to 4 months.
Oh, congratulations!
Congratulations! Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna start calling you Sarge.
No, I think
I'm already past Sarge. The thing I'm stepping into now is where you can start calling me Top, but not yet. Yeah. So.
I'm calling him Bilko, but
nice.
Any gaming stuff going
on? Got done with 2 weeks of beta testing for the Old Republic. Awesome. That's why I'm on leave starting Monday, and you won't see me for the next 2 weeks for early access.
Yeah, like we saw you when the whole thing opened up last Sunday.
Again, that was part of the beta.
So I take it you will not be doing shows after this until the first of the year.
My computer can take multitasking, so I might.
Yeah, but can your
You
brain?
just occasionally will hear me talking about, giving a Jawa a lightsaber vasectomy or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Brian will just look at each other. It's like flashback. Okay.
Yeah. But speaking of gaming, I never did answer that question. I've pretty much figured out where you guys are going to be dropped in to my campaign. And
sounds like you're going to I keep thinking of full on, you're going to put us in parachutes with a plane and just drop us in.
Well, yeah. Well, you guys already have,
There are so many uses for the dragons. You don't even know.
This is going to be fun. Basically, I've already spoken to my ex-fiance, and she's going to run a character that she had the last game that I tried to run, I found the actual DM notes. It was
too weird.
April 2006.
Okay. Wow.
That's the last time I ran a game. Over 5 years ago.
And we have to trust this man, folks?
You damn right, you do. But anyway,
okay, Grandpa. Go ahead.
But what it is that her character and a couple of NPCs, they've been trying to tackle Horror on the Hill, and they actually got through. I'd say probably about a third of it, and that's where I'm probably going to drop you guys in because
after the Horror on the Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
No, about a third of the way through, you guys will probably end up winding up in Guido's Fort and meeting up and, just tackling the hill again. It's,
Hey, you go to Guido's Fort. Sometimes you got to get a little extra muscle. I don't know.
Yeah, I know a guy.
Do they serve thick crust or thin?
Oh, jeez. Wow. The views of Glenn Hallstrom are not the views of THACO's Hammer or...
I always have pizza on my mind, so as far as I'm concerned, I haven't done a whole heck of a lot. The basic game with my grandson is still on hold, but that may change over the next few weeks since I've stockpiled some stuff and I've been running through my dragons looking for stuff to use, and I found a few things, a few monsters, things like that. And I'm also working on that map I found and redoing it. And I still got to come up with a clever name for the world. And for a lot of the cities. I mean, half of them are unnamed. Guys got some bizarre cartography.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's got like one castle or keep on the hill, and it got all these dots around it. Are these supposed to be like, there's no names. Is this supposed to be like towns that sort of wind their way up to the hill or what?
Might be.
Outlying villages that look to the hilltop fortress for protection, or just way stations along the way. What?
Yeah, but there are like 12 of them.
Yeah.
On this one.
So they're industrious.
All right, maybe it's a shire. I don't know. Maybe it's hobbit holes.
It might be.
Tell you what.
Well, Glenn.
Name them after the months.
There you go.
Oh, Glenn, it's like oh God, I've forgotten his name. The guy in the classic 70s painting show. It's your world. You can do whatever you want to do with it.
Oh yeah, is that you talking about Make-A-Wish?
No.
Oh, okay.
Is that what that was? Public television guy artist. He basically started with a blank canvas.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Yes, that guy.
Was that the guy with the beard and the fro?
Yes, and the pipe. Yes.
Yeah, scary.
Tell you what.
He was doing these in the 80s and stuff too, and he still had the fro.
70s.
Oh yeah, he still had the fro. Very scary guy.
Oh, loved him. He was a great artist too. What were you saying, Full-On?
I was going to say put a chronomancer in the keep, call it Fortress Sundial.
Oh,
name all of and he's a very militant tactician guy, so he's got all of his surrounding villages named after a clock point.
Oh,
Invaders coming in from 3 o'clock.
Wow, and I can
or something off of that tangent or bent for naming conventions, if you're not going to go seasonal monthly.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Oh,
wow.
I mean, I like some of his names, like one of the big towns, Anvil. And then the town right down from it, Pommel. this fits in with my mindset. So.
Oh my God! Yes. As we all know, you like things simple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up.
Anyway, I didn't say. That's all I said. That's all I said.
Okay. Now, do we have any emails?
Yes, we do.
We got emails. Oh boy. Open up the bag here and see what we find.
Yes. Oh, by the way, status report on our little contest. We have 4 emails so far.
I mean, whoa. Can you say that again? What?
We have
4 emails so far.
4. Yes, 4. Yeah, we have 4 emails submitted for our little contest.
Joy, he can count.
Yeah, I can count. Real good.
So what do we got for regular emails?
Okay, we have one from Joshua Merritt, and he says, hi guys, just want to start off by saying once again how great I think the show is.
Of course. Thank you.
Well, we do our best. Oh, we try and keep the tangents to a minimum. Take that.
No, we don't. Don't lie.
Yeah, I know. I'm being really, really sarcastic right now.
And this is coming from
fabulous.
And this is coming from the guy who isn't deep. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, I'll ask about that later. He says, I've taken to listening to it on the way to work, and it's a great way to get the day started. I have a few questions for you guys. First, for Glenn. As I listen to the show, it seems you don't have a great deal of experience with 2nd edition AD&D specifically. I was curious as to what led you to do THACO's Hammer.
See,
I know the answer.
Deep. I'm not deep. That's what. No.
Shallow into the pool, folks.
No, excuse me.
You started it.
I will have you know I spent a great deal of time in 2E, and I do understand 2E, but it was mostly as a player perspective.
Right. And that's okay. And that's perfect fine.
My DM chops I did not start until 3.3.5, and now I'm getting them in basic.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm eventually going to be getting around to running a 2E game, probably for you guys.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes, but I do have. Yeah, here's how it happened. THACO's Hammer happened because Vince was dying to get me to host a show. And I said, okay, just for you. What do you want to do? You've got all the other ones covered. Well, we could do that Stinko 2nd edition. And it says, oh, fine, I know 2nd edition. Okay, then that's it. And they got these guys, and, we ran with it.
Yeah, a couple other guys.
A couple other guys. I don't have a problem with 2E. I love 2E. I mean, like I said, I spent a good deal of my D&D time in 2E. After that 12-year stint in Champions, it was 2E time right there.
Right. And that, just to kind of do something different.
I caught 2E just as it was getting off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love it. Just I don't know. I think doing the other show is kind of like made me fall in love with simplicity or something like that. Because now I notice if I've been writing notes for a 2E game, and it looks like I'm trying to do basic in 2E.
Yeah.
I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. I'll keep THACO. But I don't want this. I don't want this.
Mm-hmm. Might as well just break it out. Okay.
THACO's not even the hardest part of 2E. I mean, that's simple math.
I know.
Yes, it is.
I know, but I've heard a lot of flack about how THACO's 2E, and I'm like, no, THACO's basically been around since like 1979.
Yeah, it's been there for everything. I don't know why anyone calls it out as a 2E specific element, because it's definitely
that's
not.
what shoved it to the forefront. Also, another reason I come off like this is because, like I said, I've been under the player perspective, but also I'm trying to work that as to my advantage, to the show's advantage, because I said, okay, I've been mostly a player. I haven't really dealt with the DM side. So,
and I've been mostly a DM. See if the two of them can live together.
And I've been somewhere. Exactly. Can two players with differing experiences get along without killing each other? Anyway,
exactly.
No one really dies.
But like I said, I'm trying to bring my experience as a player to it, but also I'm trying to take the role of the audience member who is going, well, what's this 2E all about? I want to learn.
Exactly.
I'm trying to ask the dumb questions so you folks don't have to.
Yeah. And we get emails asking dumb questions anyway. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. But okay, that's okay. We can put that one down.
Like I've told Brian, I've been between these two shows. I could have a hot lunch every day for the times I've been wrong.
Oh, whatever, Glenn. You're not that bad.
But then again, like I said, I'm putting out the questions. I'm trying to think of the questions that somebody who is new to this whole thing. That's why I'm the one I always say, hey, Full On, tell us about this. Hey, Brian, how does that work? And if I know, I'll say it. But anyway, I'm just rambling on right now. But and
if we all know, we'll argue.
Somewhere, yeah. Somewhere in there is the answer. You're just going to have to find it, I think. Anyway, go on, Brian.
Okay, second question. This is for all of us.
Okay.
What are your favorite schools of specialization for wizards?
Necromancy.
Oh, yeah. I kind of figured that. For me, God, I'd probably say either Transmuter or Invoker. It's like neck and neck for those two. How about you, Full On?
Things must go boom. Evocation.
You like being an Invoker. Big shock.
Okay.
Yeah, you're a soldier in the army. You're gonna be Master Sergeant in the army. Yeah, you like making things go boom. Yeah.
Okay. I hate to draw this
things
back.
Things go boom. Things go zap. Things go boom, then zap.
See, that's why I still think you need black powder in D&D, because you'd have fun making things go boom then.
I got no problem with black powder in D&D. My players once found out what happens when you have aerosolized flour in D&D. And fire traps.
Oh. Ouch. Yeah.
But anyway, this goes back to me having mostly a player perspective of 2E. I never thought really much about the schools until I started reading like the Necromancer's book and looking at it going, hey, this is a school for me. I like this as a DM and a player.
Yeah, and folks, this isn't just because, Glenn has this obsession with dead things. In previous episodes, he's described a necromancer who's more of a chirurgeon, someone who is, who has the power of the necromancy as his ability, but he's more of a undertaker. Yeah.
And as schools of magic go, necromancy, look at it this way. Of all the schools of magic, which one got its own splat book?
That's true.
Good fun for players, good fun for game masters. Have a rollicking good dead time of
it. Yeah, exactly.
You're slobbering on the mic again, Full On.
Oh, man.
If I can't make it blow up, dead things are the next best thing.
That's true. And when you can get dead things to blow up, that's even better.
I've heard about that. Yeah. What is that? What's that? What's
blast
that spell? Exploding. Yeah, blast bones. Exactly.
Yeah. So that gives you both evocation and necromancy in one spell. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you go far enough into 2E, you get those dual spec wizards.
Oh God. Yes.
Did he have any other questions?
Yes, he's got one more. Okay. Third, also to the group. For many years, I have used the Dwarven Forge dungeon products in my game. However, with the birth of my daughter 3 months ago, as of this writing, the setup time has become prohibitive. I was wondering what kind of map products, if any, do you guys recommend that both look good and are easier to set up? Thanks again for doing what you do. A loyal fan, Josh Merritt, aka GM Hack on Dragon's Foot.
Thanks, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
This is the point of the show where I really wish Vince was here, because he's like the man for like stuff comes with modules like to set up, like making your own. He loves the modules where you can make your own houses and stuff.
Oh, like dragon tiles and stuff like that.
But even the stuff where you build it, dragon tiles you lay flat, don't you? Anyway, but
I can take Vince's slot for that.
Okay,
I own all of Dwarven Forge, and I don't find setup prohibitive as long as you've taken the preparation to go with it. So you can stick with your Dwarven Forge if you want. You really can. You can also mix and match it with a bunch of other stuff. Not only are there all of the D&D tiles that were published, and you can still download the zip file auto creator with a whole bunch of tile graphics in it from the Wizard site. Mm-hmm. You can get stuff like there's a Maps of Mastery, sponsor of D20 Radio. That guy.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug, yes. He has stuff that is perfect. Poster maps, tile sets, fantasy, sci-fi, anything you want. Slap it all down there.
Now you're making me drool.
Going backwards in my evolution as game master and person who hoards all kinds of stuff, I have ransacked and raided. There was an old Hero Quest game that had cardboard tiles, pretty good durable cardboard tiles that had interlocking like puzzle piece ends along with some square pieces, and they had corners, straight passageways, stuff like that. I used that for the dungeon layouts for ages, and it's almost like setting up Dwarven Forge except you don't have walls. It's just flat pieces. And between that and my old standby favorite is, instead of getting a chess, you can still use your Chessex mats and stuff like that, but I also grabbed a hold of some whiteboards, and I just put a 1-inch dot grid on a big whiteboard in permanent, in Sharpie marker, so that it's not lines. Lines distract from everybody, but if you have a dot grid at 1 inch, you can do maps, miniatures, any scale you want, run wild with it and just get rid of it with a dry erase marker, and you're good to go. Fast and dirty. No problem.
Right.
Nice.
I mean,
you didn't quite fill in for Vince. You didn't say 2E sucks or the RC sucks at the end.
Oh God, take that, Vince. Anyway,
because I've been DMing since Basic in all editions except the one that
shall not be mentioned.
The one that shall not be named.
4E, all right.
Yeah, that one.
But anyway,
I still play all of them and enjoy all of them based on their individual merits. So,
Okay.
With me, when it's face-to-face, I'm looking at the top of my bookcase right now where I've got a couple of Chessex mats, and I use figurines for face-to-face. That's why this campaign that I'm running with you guys is going to be something of an experiment, because I'm actually thinking about using something like a GM screen or something like that.
No.
But, yeah, actually I am. I'm thinking about it.
At your Chessex mat, and we'll call that done.
Okay. Well, I have to get a new camera. The camera I have is pretty much shot. But yeah. All right then. I'll just invest, in a new camera, and we'll do it that way. I mean, yeah. I'm thinking, this would that'd probably be better just for gaming purposes. But I mean, I'm always messing around with programs like that because it is so hard to find not only players but players who play second edition. I live in a college town, so everybody's on 3E and 4E.
Right.
I mean, I went to the local gaming store last Sunday, and the overwhelming majority of stuff they had for sale was 3E, some 4E, but only 2 second edition products out of that whole thing. 2. That's it. They had some 1E stuff too, now that I think about it, but I mean, that stuff was so beat up. Oh, God,
my game store, I walk in, look at the used shelf, see the same things from last month, and walk out.
Walk right out. Yeah, I've done the same thing.
And I will have to say this for the original question. If you've got Dwarven Forge, why go backwards? No prohibitive setup time for Dwarven Forge. If you know what your adventure is going to entail in general. I mean, I keep a bunch of BattleTech map sheets around for wilderness and outside adventures and stuff like that.
I love those maps.
Buy hordes of those, $10 a pop, and keep them in a big file ready to grab at your leisure. But the Dwarven Forge itself, whether it's the cavern pieces, the lake pieces, the river pieces, the ancients, the Den of Evil, all of it, if you know what you're going to do, you can have most of that pre-staged for your adventure day. I've done it when I take my Dwarven Forge with me to World Game Day at a game store, as opposed to having my racks of shelves that I can just reach from the table and throw down at a moment's notice.
But
if you have some of that already pre-staged, you can cut your setup time in half or less just by going slap, 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 boom, done, next.
But there's one little problem with that. He has a 3-month-old daughter.
I raised our kid from newborn to 16 plus, and I've gone through all of it, and believe me, you're going to do more damage. Your 3-year-old is going to do more damage slurping on a cardboard tile and softening it into mush and goo than they ever for a passageway. Mm-hmm. They're good, they're solid. Just work on organizing a good way to store your Dwarven Forge so it's readily accessible and organized, and have a plan where it's like just take a boot box or a shoe box or something like that. Have the rooms in question that are going to be part of tonight's adventure put together with the parts right there, all ready to go. So you just pull it out and go slap, slap, slap. Literally that fast, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't get any kind of gratuity from Dwarven Forge after this, I will be really surprised.
We should.
You've seen their new stuff.
Or at least full on should.
They have 2 new sets that are finishing their pre-orders and they're ready for shipping around Christmas time. Mm-hmm. They have both the Woodland set, which I'm not that keen of a fan on. I haven't hemmed or hawed whether or not I'm going to buy that or not. But the Ice Caverns to go along with the lava caverns that I have.
Right.
But
let me now that you've talked all things wonderful about Dwarven Forge, let me make another suggestion to you. There is a company out there called One Monk Miniatures. See, what I've been doing research is kind of along the same lines. Only I've been looking for like cardboard heroes, an alternate to miniatures, which I'm not inclined to paint anymore. And this place called One Monk Miniatures, it's at onemonk.com. They do cardboard miniatures in different sizes, 25, 30 millimeter, whatever. And they're really beautiful, full color. You can print them out on cardstock, and you can also print out bases if you don't want to use styrofoam or something like that. And they also do some areas, like I saw one that had a goblin hut you can print out several times. I've seen dungeon corridors and things like that these are like print out, fold up, take the glue stick, and you go. Mm-hmm. So that's another suggestion. Remember, that's onemonk.com. That's my 2 cents. Mm-hmm. My 2
And
coppers.
You can also, aside from that, you're not married to a D&D label. Take a right turn as you walk into your friendly neighborhood game store and walk over into the Warhammer section and raid those resin cast arrays of stuff for features and props and bits that you can add, and go for a hybrid layout where you take a poster map 2D and throw a couple 3D elements on it to spruce things up.
That's nice.
Well, yeah, just don't forget to take out a car loan to afford all that stuff. That's all I got to say about Warhammer. It's expensive.
Yeah.
Well, again, I wasn't specifically Warhammer. I'm saying you go into that section of the store, and that's where you find the poly resin cast that's not branded by Chessex or those guys. Yeah. You'll find everything else in that zone of the shop as opposed to over by, here's all your D&D books.
Right.
Yeah, true.
Now, who was that? Who sent that email again, Nate?
That was Joshua Merritt, a.k.a. GM Hack.
Once again, thanks, Josh. And while we take the fire extinguisher to full on, let's go to our next email.
Well, our friend from across the pond, Brady Webb, is back. God, I must be tired. Okay,
that guy again. All right.
Yeah. It seems we can't get rid of him. He's like that recurring rash.
Excelsior!
And he did sign off with it. Okay, he says, hi guys, it's DM Brady once again sharing his thoughts and opinions on Splat Book number 28. Mm-hmm. Firstly, I found your discussion on house rules most illuminating and enjoyable. I have a few house rules, and when I was committing them to paper, I made a conscious decision that no matter what, they should all fit on a maximum of 1 A4 page. That's ambitious. It's either that or the typeset is small. Consequently, there aren't that many, but they include combat and strategy options from Dragon Magazine. Yay! I'm glad someone else uses those aside from me. Spellcasting, critical hits, etc., as well as guidelines for character creation. I have attached a PDF of my house rules guide for you to peruse, then ridicule. Oh, okay, you've opened up Pandora's box, son. I'll download this while I'm reading it.
I ain't saying nothing.
Okay, to continue. If you're wondering, he's talking about different things in his house rules guide. Mm-hmm. If you're wondering why my generating primary ability scores are so different, 4d6 4 times, discarding the lowest and re-rolling 1s and 2s, and 5d6 twice, discarding the lowest and re-rolling 1s and 2s. It's because my Dragonlance campaign is particularly tough, and I want characters with really heroic stats to help them survive for longer.
Hey, I got nothing wrong with that. I've exactly played that kind of heroic tier of dice rolling many times through 2 and 3E. All good. Awesome.
Yep. Okay, to continue. Also of note, and like Brian, I've included perception as a primary ability. Double yay. However, rather than rolling to generate the score, it's based off of adding either your intelligence or wisdom, whichever's better, to your dexterity and dividing by 2. Well, that's interesting. Why dexterity? Because your dex defines your hand-eye coordination, and so good observational skills are a must. I wouldn't exactly agree with that, but it works for him. Yeah. Let's see. By the way, I like that Glenn had ported over fate points from Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay and had considered it myself. However, I was wondering which interpretation he used when a player spent a fate point to save his or her life, whether it was the Indiana Jones, you survive unscathed but by the skin of your teeth, or, and my personal favorite, the Tom and Jerry, you survive but bashed, bruised, broken, and barely alive. Interestingly, back when I was a store manager for Games Workshop many, many years ago, each manager had his or her own fate points. You got one for meritorious service or every year with the company and could use one to save your butt if you screwed up somehow.
Nice.
That's awesome. I love that. That is awesome.
Nice.
They got rid of them shortly after I'd left the company, but it's a good example of just how quirky Games Workshop were back in the day, and no, I never needed to use one. Comment?
I'm favoring the Indiana Jones, but the Tom and Jerry version sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When I do run, I run fast and loose, as you can tell with the basic games and stuff like that. So it's more like, okay, you get a few scrapes and maybe get, I'll give, okay, you take a D6 of damage, and go. But the Tom and Jerry Tex Avery things falling out of the sky type of fate points, I can understand.
Yep.
I gotta get a copy too and get that chart. I'm gonna use that. Boy, things falling out of the sky from Toon. Okay. But yeah, I could deal with the Indy Jones version. And it's been a while since I read Warhammer, but I believe it was like each character rolls a D10 or is it D6? I think it's a D10. It's all percent. That game's all percentile based pretty much. Probably. So it's a D10. That's how many fate points you have.
Right. And but do they regenerate or is that a static number that reduces every time you use it?
I think it's a static number during the game.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably find out by taking a listen to the Woofrip Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay podcast, also on D20 Radio, where they will talk about those to no end.
Pardon me, my face is on my desk because I got hit over the head with that plug.
Okay. D20, I want kickbacks, okay? Fine.
Okay. As we continue, because we got a little bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those things where you're going to have this many fate points. They do regenerate, but how fast and when is up to the GM.
Mm-hmm.
You could do it like you could reset it to whatever it was back when you started a new adventure, or if you're in a campaign, okay, every 3 adventures maybe because you're in the middle of a dungeon, whatever, whatever. It's basically DM Fiat.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that works for me. I've never used them. Well, quite honestly, and yeah, well, some DMs would say I'm too soft. I haven't had a character die in a long time, or I think the closest was one character that got down to like -8 hit points before his companions bandaged his butt. But I mean, reason why I asked you, Glenn, because I was thinking more of the force points from D6 Star Wars, or even D20 Star Wars.
6 was not so much a save your butt type use of points.
Oh, that's true.
That really came in around D20 Star Wars.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah,
and I believe the fate points also one of the best uses in a player's perspective is taking a shot that would certainly kill you, but spending a fate point and having 1 hit point left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's pretty much, if I was going to use fate points, that's exactly how I'd use it. You're beat to hell. You should have been killed, but somehow, some way, you must have prayed very well to your god that month because, you're still alive. But
you're unconscious, but you're breathing.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm a big fan of feeding the carrion crawlers and optimizing methods and systems for replacing characters who die gloriously, which is good storytelling.
I agree.
Living through it all the time isn't always the point. Ask Wash. He's a leaf on the wind.
No, I'm not going to go to that tangent. I'm sorry, no. You mentioned carrion crawlers, and they stick in my, no pun intended, craw. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, pun intended. I'm not sure.
What, because the multiple saving throws, Glenn?
No. It's just the whole idea of a carrion crawler being that aggressive.
Yeah, you have a point.
I don't know very many scavengers who will. I don't know of a vulture who will come down and peck at you until you die, and then you.
Vultures don't have 12 paralyzing attacks around.
That's true.
That's beside the point.
Among the scavenger set of, I can eat anything that moves in front of me because it'll stop moving.
Yeah. That's beside the point.
Although their brain power is probably limited to food, eat, food, food, eat, make food,
yeah,
mate.
Yeah, that's a creature with non-intelligence. That's all they think about.
Yeah. Go see that webcomic, Rusty and Friends. Yeah. Rusty is a rust monster.
Oh, God.
This is a plug. Rusty is a rust monster. He teams up with a gelatinous cube and a greater mimic who most of the time spends it in the treasure chest mode. He's the talker of the group. They decide they want to become adventurers.
That's funny.
It is funny.
I like that premise.
I remember one panel where the mimic says to the okay, go get the horses. And he says, and then later on the panel says, he's getting the horses. There's a skeleton of a horse inside of him. He's slowly going back to the group.
Yeah. Oh, those Jello cubes, I tell you.
Yeah.
Okay. To continue.
And Rusty has like, you see his thoughts every once in a while. It's like, food? What? Hey, you hear about the elf? Elf? Food? It's just like one word thoughts. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, to continue. With regards to creating homebrew campaign worlds, on the whole, I've always used a published campaign world as there are so many excellent ones to choose from. That being said, I did create an entire realm and history for my LARP group, the Knights Mortis. Mm-hmm. I am not surprised at all that he LARPs. I've attached a PDF of the map of the realm.
If you had ready access to castles in your backyard,
you have a point. Yeah, I'd love to LARP at Stonehenge, but that's beside the point. Let's see. I've attached a PDF of the map of the realm regarding how to create maps. An interesting idea was by Pat Mills, founder of 2000 AD. That's one hell of a game, by the way, and co-creator of Judge Dredd for his book Requiem Vampire Knight. Set in hell, the world of resurrection, as its inhabitants call it, is a mirror image of Earth, but with land and oceans reversed. You said something about that, full on.
Yes, I did. You can do that with fractal terrains and have a wonderful time doing it.
Yes, sir. Lastly, Brian, you mentioned the excellent voice actor Frank Welker. Well, here's a bit of trivia for you. And I knew this, but that's beside the point. Frank not only was the voice of Scooby-Doo and a host of other cartoon characters, including the original Megatron, yes, he was, but he was also the voice of Uni. Everybody knew that. Everybody who's watched D&D knew that. The baby unicorn in the D&D cartoon.
All right, I'll give you another Frank Welker, Jabberjaw.
I knew that too.
I think that was his first claim to fame in voice acting, is he could do Curly Howard. But anyway, yes, Frank Welker. I mean, he took over from like Don Messick for Scooby-Doo and all that. And when Messick died, he became, yeah. Anyway.
And Casey Kasem never wants to hear the word Shaggy ever again as long as he lives.
Well, he's lived so long right now, it's like, Shaggy, that's what my hair is.
Zoinks! Yeah, exactly. Zoinks!
I think it was, well, just offhand comment, I think it was a brilliant idea to get the guy who played Shaggy in the live action movies to do the voice now.
Yeah. Yeah,
he's finally getting a regular paycheck.
It's also giving him enough practice to get the voice right.
That's true too.
That's true.
Let's see. In the D&D cartoon, he's also reunited with his pal Peter Cullen, better known as the voice of Optimus Prime. But in D&D, Cullen,
that one.
Yeah, I knew. Of course, everybody knows that.
And Venger.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's how he wrapped up his email. We all know this. Brady, you have to understand something. We're Americans. This cartoon originated in America. We know
We apologize for it.
Nah, it's not that.
But we know it.
Yeah. It was done during the 80s where nobody got killed. You know how that goes.
The opinions and wrath of Brian Caraway is not exactly...
Oh, you haven't seen... actually, yeah, you have seen me mad. I think I've calmed down recently very well. But anyway.
I know you're going to go bite your pillow. Anyway, you were saying. Until next time.
No, I'm not going to say what I'm thinking. All right. Until next time, Excelsior Brady. P.S. Glenn, I do not mind you playing Champions with your grandkids. Heck, it's great that you're running a game of 4-color action. All I will say is that at least it's not the DC Superheroes RPG. I will give him that.
I do admire the DC Superhero system. I can't play it, so.
Yeah. So that's our man Brady.
It's got some good ideas, but
Yeah. Yeah, just don't try to impress us with your knowledge of American cartoons. We're all Americans.
Hey.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
I'm going to do my Peter Weller impersonation. Don't be mean. You don't have to be mean.
Your move,
no matter where you go, there you are.
There you are.
Anyway, now, you just lay off him. He's a nice guy.
I'm okay. I really am. I'm more kidding than anything else. I just find it amusing that he's trying to impress us with his knowledge of American cartoons.
Oh, no.
We all grew up with them, damn it. Anyway.
We'll send him off to research information on the actual semi-competent quality Dungeons and Dragons-esque venue for cartoons, which would be across the pond the other direction. Just stay away from the tentacles and the cat girls.
Hey, you know what? Legend of Lodoss War is one of the best anime series ever created, and they based it off D&D, the entire thing.
I know.
It's awesome.
I used to have it on VHS. I know.
Mm.
Or you could go with Slayers.
Yeah, if you want a little more comedy, sure. So, but anyway, we digress once again. Tangent.
Hi, folks. We're getting out of Dodge.
This is it. This is what? If I take one more step, it'll be the farthest away from home I've ever been.
Getting out of Dodge.
Getting out of Dodge and out of that sticky mess that Brian left us. Okay.
Sorry about that. I'll clean it up after we're done. I'm sorry.
No comment. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. No comment.
Seeing as Brian is going to take us through the world of Mystara from basic to 2E.
Yes, sir.
And back again.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we got? We got for basic. Well, we kind of know what Mystara is, but you tell us.
Okay. Well, the first thing I ever saw that was, the first iteration was the known world, which was in the, it was in the expert, rule book.
Is that came up with the name of the known world?
Exactly. Because that's what it was called.
Was that Metzer or?
Actually, it was both. I think it was both Mulvey and Menser.
Okay.
I think. Don't. Someone can correct me later if I'm wrong, but that's what I think. And basically it focused on the Grand Duchy of Karamakos. You had the capital city, you had, various towns and forts and stuff all over the place. In, I want to say, 1988, I want to say. That I may be wrong about. 87, actually. It was 87. Okay. They started coming out with these nice 96-page gazetteers on regions in Mystara. Of course, the first one was the Grand Duchy of Karamakos.
And they're all drool worthy.
Oh yeah. You know,
what were they, like $12, $15, something
15,
like that?
Yeah, $15 on average. Yeah.
Yeah.
They weren't expensive, and they had tons of information in them. You could run a campaign in any one of them.
I'm looking at a price tag on my Orcs of Thar that says $9.95.
Really?
So yeah.
Okay. Even cheaper.
That was Gazetteer 10.
Yeah. Let you know what? While we're talking, I'm going to open up one.
Grand Duchy of Carmicos, $10 US.
Yeah. And that, you want to know what? That, even brand new back in the day, that is a bargain. That is a huge bargain.
Deal.
Yeah.
You can find them for somewhat reasonable prices these days, up to expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But you're really doing good if you find them with the map in it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
Trying to get one with a map in it is kind of hard. With the map in it is kind of hard.
Well, nowadays, that's not so much of an issue. I mean, all you would have to do is go over to the Vaults of Pandius, which is the definitive Mystara source on the internet, in my opinion.
Right.
They have quite good maps.
Oh, they have wonderful
great maps.
Yeah, and I'll throw out a shout out to Thorf. Hey, man, what's up? But, you know, because this guy actually recreated all of the maps, updated them to a current standard, and they're just awesome.
He even did Thunder Rift, Goodbye Thunder Rift, because
yes, he did.
I got a couple of those, and they're great. And he put it like he'd take these areas, and it's like if other modules come out and mention stuff that I was in the map, he'll put it on the map.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, without a doubt. And so you have, oh God, how many gazetteers were there? 14?
10.
Yeah,
I think there were
15 actually.
Well,
go ahead.
There was at least one box set.
Yeah, I'm including Dawn of the Emperors with that.
Yeah.
Because I have that. So 14 gazetteers, one box set. You know, just to be clear on it. And each one took a region of quote unquote the known world, and it went into
expanded it.
Yes, exactly. Went into pretty deep detail on, you know, the region, politics of the region, areas to explore. They would give you suggestions for adventures in the back, and so on and so forth. At one point, I made it a mission to try to get all of them, but after I spent $60, that's 60, on eBay to get the Kingdom of Irendi, I stopped. Yeah.
The intervention happened?
No, it was a self-intervention, believe me. You want to know what? I take that back. It wasn't 60, it was 80.
Wow.
Yeah. It was one of those where, I got that eBay rage going where this son of a bitch, he's out trying to outbid me. I will not be outbid. I will not be outbid. $80? Oh, damn. At least at the time I had a job that I could support it.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, one of the reasons these are attractive, as far as like even in a 2E game, is back then they were trying, as we all know, as everybody knows, they were trying to phase out basic D&D.
Yeah.
And they had not gotten to the point where they were going to take Mystara and update it to 2E yet.
Glenn,
yes.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Something? Can I just make one little observation? That was a mistake. Every good game needs a gateway. And Basic was a great gateway. Go ahead.
I know it was a mistake. But the point being, Mr. Bruce Hurd, who was writing Hurd over basic D&D.
Ouch.
And they basically said, we got all our staffers working on Advanced and Forgotten Realms and stuff like that. Go hire some freelancers. And he got the best in the business. Our first book, Karamakos, Aaron Alston.
Yeah, my man.
Wrote it. And I know there's at least one book, I think it may be the 5 Shards, that Ed Greenwood did.
You are correct, sir. It is the Five Shires.
With the hobbits. Ed Greenberg. I mean, you're getting the stellar names.
Yep.
I mean, they did. I'm more every day I look at that stuff. I think they did. I still think some of their best writing from that company came out of the basic flag and those books in particular. Anyway,
I agree 100%. But yeah, I mean, they have, just taking the Karamakos one. I mean, you got the history, politics, society, economy, lay of the land of the communities. They went into depth with the NPCs, monsters that were, that they were common in the region. And of course, then they gave you, adventures at every level, basic, expert, companion, and masters. And they even went so far as to say, okay, we know we have these adventures like Keep on the Borderlands and Palace of the Silver Princess in print. Here, these are suggested locations for these adventures.
Right.
The Caves of Chaos are right where they put them in my world. You were saying? Did you say something, Fawn?
I said, yep.
Mm-hmm.
If I am playing in Mystara, that's where everything is. Otherwise, I find the equivalent place to put them in my realms.
Mm-hmm.
So next time you see Bruce Hurd at a con, if he ever goes to a con, I'm going to be kissing his feet. I don't know about you.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy! Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I'll be right there next to you.
For putting out these and the Rule Cyclopedia.
Yep, I will be the Garth Pure Wayne. Yes, he was.
And there's so much more that they put in these as well. Aside from you get all the culture stuff, aside from you get all the in-depth fluff and color, they give you systems that people keep asking for. Like, say you were running something coastal and you wanted to have a good seafaring adventure trade with piracy and shipping and stuff like that. Well, grab yourself Gazetteer 9, the Minrathrad Guilds, and they have an entire chapter dedicated to speculative trade.
Yeah, I mean,
to cargo handling, charts and weapons and ship-to-ship combat, weather, sailing. It's here for you to mine.
All of it.
And adjust to whatever edition you happen to be playing.
Yeah, and the thing is that I would say probably this is the reason why I took Mystara in the first place. Like when we were talking about creating a homebrew world back in episode 28, I said, I started to do it and it became a little too much work. My creative juices weren't exactly going with the flow, so to speak. Right. Then I just found these Gazetteers and I'm like, this is going to be my campaign world, hands down.
Oh, and in the Rule Cyclopedia in the back where it says how to convert D&D to second edition.
Second edition, yes.
Seems like I looked at the PDF, seems like every single Gazetteer had one section on converting this to second edition.
Yes. Yeah, I actually didn't start, I think they started doing that with, I want to say probably Darrican, which is number 7, I think.
I thought Karamakos had that.
No, they didn't. Because, Karamakos came out in 87.
I know they're showing up from 9 on.
Right. I'm sorry, Darrican's number 11. My apologies.
Okay.
Let me see. I know it's one of these. No,
but I figured after like the third time you'd see it in a Gazetteer, you'd probably it'd be automatic how to convert something to 2E.
Yeah, it was easy.
My basic rule is slap a THACO on it and use it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's my point. When using Gazetteers and going to second edition, I would say probably 85% of your work is already done. It's all you need to do is just tweak here, tweak there, and you can just basically just run it without any sort of issue.
Yeah. And so now we come to the relaunch.
The relaunch, yes.
Okay, when did that happen?
That took place in 1994.
Okay.
Now, understand. I will give a little caveat here. Sort of halfway to a confession, but, only halfway. When I first got this, in 94 actually, I bought it I opened it. I read it. I wasn't happy with the changes that were wrought with the campaign, with what they did with Mystara, but that more goes to the Poor Wizard's Almanacs they put out, just, a couple years before the relaunch. And, they're just, massive changes to the world. Basically your Roman Empire and your nation of mages go to war. The nation of mages sinks into the sea. The Roman Empire's crippled. Shadow elves boil up from out of the depths of the earth and take over the elven nation of Alfheim. And now all the refugees are scattered or herded into the other nations and so forth. And I was like, no, I don't like this at all. And reading some of the things in the box set sort of like reinforced my dislike of it. Now, understand, that's 1994. It's 17 years ago.
Okay.
Go
Go
ahead. I was just going to say, now, knowing all of that, I knew that I was going to be doing this episode of the show sooner or later, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to go back through this. I'll just slog through it, and, I'll just say, well, I don't like this, and I don't like that, and I don't like this. And I started reading it, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. I still don't like a lot of the things that happen to the campaign world, so my Mystara, they will not happen. If I really wanted to, I could create a campaign to where, it's up to the player characters to make sure it doesn't. But like I said, I went through it and I'm just like, you know what? I was wrong. Brian at 43 is not Brian who at 26 back in 1994. So, my thoughts and opinions on this have changed a lot.
And I'm also lumping to get back to the Gazetteers for a moment. I'm also lumping the Creature Crucible books in with the Gazetteers.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I use those judiciously.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Night Howlers.
And,
awesome.
and we all know why Glenn wants Top Ballista. So,
well, yeah.
Gnomes.
Crazy ass gnomes.
Pretty much, I guess. So that's pretty much, and in the Mystara setting. Okay, one caveat. Yeah. You thought Greyhawk was kind of like a mixing pot. Oh, you haven't seen what Mystara looks like.
Mystara's got Greyhawk beat in that aspect.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly believe it.
And if you don't like that, you can go inside the planet and see what's in there.
Exactly. And then there's the Hollow World.
Hey, I got roped into buying that box set.
Yeah. I was like, you know what? I got too much to do on the surface of Mystara. I don't need to go into Hollow World. I just don't. But
you play it like Ravenloft. They wander in someplace, all of a sudden they're inside the world. Huh? What?
Mm-hmm. Oh God. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all of a sudden up is down, down is up. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it works that way, but yeah, you got a point.
No, well, yeah, I know. There are only like certain ways you can get to the Hollow World. My whole thing is that with the second edition relaunch, they went into, as much as the Gazetteer went into detail about Karamakos, just as an example, second edition went into more detail. Much more in-depth histories of the main characters, much more in-depth about the towns and regions of the duchy, although with the second edition relaunch, Karamakos became a kingdom.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Hey, that's the natural progression of things, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, basically what happened is that Duke Stefan helped out Thyatis in the war, but Thyatis was so weakened by the war with Alphatia that he said, you know what, I'm going to just make this a kingdom and break away from Thyatis, and they can't do anything about it. Yeah, he named himself king, renamed the capital city to something which helps with the tension between the Thyatians and the Traldarans, who are the natives.
Now,
Go ahead.
since every section of Mystara seems to reflect a different culture and time
Absolutely.
on the world, the Thracians and the Karamekios people, is that basically like the English and the Irish?
You mean the Thaiads?
Yeah, the English and the Scots, like the English and the Scots. You know, the Scottish problem.
I would more liken it to the the Thracians being the Romans and the Traladarans being the Eastern European gypsies.
Okay.
And because the Thracians came in and took over, and put down a bloody rebellion while at it, there's this, tension between the two peoples that have been, going on for 10 years.
Okay.
And, that's how I would liken it to.
I have one more question.
Yeah, go for it.
What's the difference between drow and dark elves? Like, do the drow ride spiders and the dark elves ride beavers, or what?
Oh, well, you know what? I don't know what. Honestly, that's a supplement where I'm just not 100% sure what they were thinking when they put it out. Because for all intensive purposes, the shadow elves to me are very, they're more or less drow, just not quite as chaotic in their society, and not quite as female dominated either, I don't think.
So it's like drow with Gary's serial numbers filed off.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say it's more like the Warhammer Dark Elves. You got your Elf Elves and your Dark Elves, and unless you really know them personally, you can't tell them apart until they start stabbing you in the face with a pick.
Or shooting you at a distance with a hand crossbow.
Gotcha.
But, I mean, for my campaign, this is what I did. Because this was an idea that I had been kicking around for like 8 or 9 years, and I finally committed it to paper, or in this case, digital signals. The Shadow Elves, to me, are a crossbreed between Drow and Captured Surface Elves. And they are taken from the moment they are born, and they are trained and twisted and all these things. They basically make the perfect spies for Drow.
So you have both Drow and Shadow Elves in your.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Except that Shadow Elves can exist on the surface without any detriment. They can also change shape like 6 times, or not change shape, alter self 6 times a day. So they've basically infiltrated every elven community, and they try to create. They basically just try to screw the elves over and try to weaken them for a takeover. That's
okay. Got it.
Yep.
So Drizzt was a shadow elf.
No, Drizzt was a drow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Well, that's pretty much the setting, and now let's go into Rule 0.
One would think you've been doing this all your life.
We'll remember you said that.
I know. I'm sure you hate me just enough.
Rule 0.
Okay, Rule 0, we kind of hit on this a little bit about the gazetteers and stuff, adapting them to 2nd edition rules. Mm-hmm. How would you go about it? I mean, I know you have some good, advice in the gazetteers themselves, plus the Rule Cyclopedia helps you out too. Believe me, that book is a godsend for that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Really, absolutely.
Yeah. So how did you go about doing it?
Well, the monster conversions are pretty much, standard.
Like they're go on it and go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, pretty much. I mean, the thing is that, basic monsters, they more or less are the same. Of course, they're, in the cases of like dragons and things like that, and giants, of course, they got the 2E power upgrade, which was necessary in my opinion.
So would you be like full on gamer here and put the Forgotten Realms dragons in there? And
no, I'm happy taking a dragons out of the book. I think my personal feeling is they're tough enough. if you run them with the intelligence they're due. If you just run them stupidly, then of course, any comparable level party can take a dragon down. But dragons should be run as very, very smart creatures. Let's see. Yeah, the monsters are pretty simple. The only things that I really did that I thought that I needed to do was adapting just converting over the NPCs. That was more of the tough thing. As a matter of fact, I'm looking right here to the left of my monitor, and I've got a little stand-up clipboard, and I have stats for the major NPCs in Karamakos. Mm-hmm. And I just was looking. I remember when I went through the Gazetteer, I was like, okay, most of these characters are not going to have single digits for stats, unless they're mages, and of course they'd have relatively low to below average strengths and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I really did.
Dog gonna play chess now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Again, really, the entire page here about adapting Gazetteers to AD&D 2nd Edition sums up pretty much every paragraph is, this is pretty much exactly that. This is pretty much exactly that. This is pretty much exactly that. This is pretty much exactly that, with the exception of elves, dwarves, and halflings.
Yeah.
Pick a class, assign them that class, create, and carry over the rest of the NPC as is. Boom, done.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And that actually helped out, because I actually started doing this before I got the Rules Encyclopedia. Or Rules Cyclopedia, I'm sorry, take out the N. And once I got that and I saw that in the back of the book, I was like, oh! The heavens opened up, the light shone down on me, and I'm like, yes, this is the way! This is the way to do this!
And Aaron and Frank came down and smited you with the book over the head.
Yeah, it said, duh.
And pretty much the only time you're ever going to have a problem doing a conversion is if you're going to do something silly, like, let's convert the City of the Gods. Oh, wait, 36 level characters and beyond, damn.
Yeah, because, they would, because they basically kind of did the math. A 36 level D&D character was equal to a 20th level 2nd edition character or thereabouts.
Thanks, Dave. You and your Blackmore. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Messing around with nuclear energy. What were you thinking? Anyway.
Yeah. We did. Let's digress.
The gnomes made him do it.
Yeah. Let's digress. Yeah, let's digress less, okay?
Yeah, we've already had our wrists slapped.
So it's pretty much a cut and paste.
Yeah, for the most part. Just use that one chart in the back of the RC. I mean, you could probably even find it online without having to get the RC, but you converting characters is fairly simple. I mean, they even have in the Karamakos supplement in the Gazetteer, it has things for skills. They had non-weapon proficiencies, which I kind of found amusing at the time.
Well, the basic had a skills system in the RC that was optional, and that will go a long way to helping you figure out, what kind of proficiencies and all that kind of stuff.
And skills, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you just use common sense and, just to convert this over to that, and it all comes out in the wash. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's, if you guys have done this, let us know at thacoshammer@gmail.com, and we have a phone number lying around here somewhere, 405
806-0555.
I can always get the area code.
Yeah, because it's your area code, sir.
Plus D20radio.com, plus OSRgaming.com, plus purpleorb.com, plus, we have a new one. We have a new one.
Yes, we do.
PlanetAD&D.com.
Yes.
Cole, who's the administrator there, would love to have you come over and visit. We got a THACO's Hammer section there. You can talk about the shows, comment about the shows. He's got a lot of stuff in there for all the way from basic to that fourth thing.
Yeah, that fourth edition thing.
Yeah.
That thing.
Oh, Glenn.
And he's got a lot of downloads, too. What is it full on?
When you do decide to run a game and you want to run it for us,
yes.
I'm laying claim to a Tinker Gnome Geomancer named Tangent.
Damn you, full on. You're trying to kill me over here.
You wanted to play, right?
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm just going to leave alone the images in my head. I'm just going to leave it alone.
This guy. But like I said, he's got a lot of downloads there for any edition.
Yes, he does.
And more added daily or something like that. At least I'm trying. But, that's going to be our featured website this week, planetadnd.com. .org?
Yeah.
.com. And he wondered where you were, Brian. And I said,
where I was?
Yeah, he said, I heard from last week and then nothing. I says, well, he's been working all week. Just be patient.
Yeah.
He's working a lot. It's okay.
Like I said, the Bataan Death March of Work Part 2.
And with that note, we go into Magic Fingers.
Yes.
Eeny, meeny, chili beanie, the spirits are about to speak.
Well, it just so happens that your friend here is only mostly dead.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
Magic Fingers.
Magic Fingers. Okay, we're going to talk about some Mystaran spells here.
Well,
and they all have to do with familiars.
Mm-hmm.
Are they Mystaran?
Well, they're spells. I won't say they're Mystaran.
No,
they're Mystaran in my world. They can be Mystaran in my world because I imported my Mystara and merged it with another couple of planets, but technically they are Faerunian spells, but they're useful for any campaign.
Absolutely.
And I know of a lot of campaigns who have these spells anyway, no matter what world it is.
Yeah. When I read this in Dragon Magazine 228, I'm like, this goes in my campaign immediately.
Well, the first one is the old Standby Find Familiar.
Yes, indeed.
And I'm looking at the Wizard Spell Compendium Volume 2, and I'm also looking at Familiar Hamburger Helper Answer here.
Glenn, okay, this is what we're going to do. Because I have that as a Magic Fingers topic, the familiar enhancement spells. Let's table that, please.
I know. I'm not worried about that. I just thought I'd mention that. But let's go to the old Standby Find Familiar here.
Yes.
And that is a first level spell. Hey, I need a familiar. They also have the level 3 spell Find Familiar Dragon here, and level 2 Find Familiar Necromancer. For those of you who want a Necromancer for a familiar. Anyway.
That's not exactly what they meant, but anyway.
I thought the dragon cast Find Familiar Necromancer, especially the Dracoliches.
Yes.
Yeah.
I need someone to work on my parts.
Yeah, I can see that.
Can you give me a scapula lift?
Oh God, a vain Dracolich? What?
Well,
it's a dragon. They're always vain.
Oh, that's true.
This is in the School of Conjugation Summoning, and it's the Sphere of Song.
Conjugation?
Now that is not some kind of spells that I want Nate cast on my necromancer.
Sorry.
Woo! I'm glad it's not just me.
It's 1 a.m. right now, past. Okay.
Yeah, you have a point.
Conjuration Summoning School and the Sphere of Song for you priests out there who want a familiar, although I don't know why.
Or song mages for that matter.
That's true. It's obviously
really freaked out bards.
It's an attempt to summon a familiar as his aid companion and basically crony.
Yeah.
Anything from little mini dragons to black cats to crows to lizards to weasels. I love weasels.
Yeah.
Everybody has ever since Beastmaster.
That's true. He has a point.
I've never seen Beastmaster.
What?
Oh. Dude had 4 familiars, 2 ferrets, a hawk, and a tiger.
I'm not doubting that. He is the Beastmaster.
Well, actually, that's a Ranger kit, but never mind.
But Find Familiar, I just noticed the casting time is 2d12 hours. Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Range is 1 mile per level.
Mm-hmm. That's why you should wait like 2 or 3 levels before you cast it. Because,
you want to have your DM be friendly to you, you should probably take a little bit of consideration into where you're going to cast this spell.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to engineer your way into getting any kind of particular results.
Mm-hmm.
Casting it in the middle of a particular urban environment versus casting it in the middle of the Deadlands versus casting it in the middle of the great land of Thar.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see possibly some skewing of the table results if your DM get creative on you.
You cast it in the middle of a city, you get a rat. I'm sorry. Yeah. Or like this mangy dog, or maybe a tomcat or something.
Yeah, but you don't want to do stuff like you're a sea mage and you're in the middle of a dungeon and you want a dolphin.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. Good luck by having any kind of adventuring if you want a dolphin for a familiar.
Oh.
Well, again, that's going to be one of the higher tier spells, because generally when you're dealing with the Find Familiar spell, you're getting those 1 or a quarter or a half hit die simple animals, just augmented magically by the spell, more than anything really weird.
Right. But when we take Find Familiar and we take it a step further, see, there was a list in an old dungeon magazine that had like 100. Yeah, or not dungeon. I'm sorry, dragon. Yeah, it's 2. It's 2 something here. You could roll a percentile dice to find out what you got instead of like a D20 in the player's handbook. But moving from the Find Familiar spell, these spells in Dragon 228, the first one is Find Companion. It works more or less just like a Find Familiar spell, except the animals you get are just a little bit stronger, a little bit, and the best thing is in this article, they also, not only do they just give the description of the animal and, things that it might do or whatever, but it also conveys like this little quirk onto the mage character, like if you summoned a badger.
We don't need no stinking badgers.
It basically says the wizard who has this animal as a companion develops a patch of white hair at the top of his head, just like the badger has on the top of its head.
And he gets the nickname Skunky.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. A brown bear. All of a sudden you become really, really hairy. I could make a really bad joke, but I'm not gonna. A cheetah, which is like really cool. Of course, you start to look like Chitara from the Thundercats because you get
still
spots.
Waiting for a downside to that.
Yeah, well, if you're female. But you get really cool abilities, like, you're able to conceal yourself in woods. I mean, sort of like you have a Cloak of Elven Kind, and you also get these hunting, tracking, and survival weapon proficiencies, but only if the animal is like within like a mile of you.
And the third one is Find Minion, where the animals, they just keep getting bigger. Now we're getting into rideable animals.
Yeah. Well, I can ride a brown bear, but again, getting into that, taking into account that the Find Companion spell, as opposed to your first level Find Familiar, this is a 3rd level spell.
Yes, 3rd level, and Find Minion is 6th.
Yes, so you'll get a suitable upward tier of ability gains, creatures summoned, and bonding with them.
Right. You could get like things like a Pegasus, a Hippogriff, a Paraton. Can you imagine that? Considering, Lord. I mean, the funny part is that when I first saw Find Familiar in the first edition Player's Handbook, they included a pseudo-dragon. And every mage character that I played with or ran across either wanted one or had one. Now,
yeah,
exactly. And now, see, you don't get that until until you're high enough.
Every other familiar on the list, every single one from basic on up. Neat, cute, but basically an instant way to cripple the mage.
Yeah.
Except for the pseudo dragon, who could be cool. Or if you really wanted to be mean, a fairy dragon.
Oh God, yeah, and playing pranks on everybody. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And the thing is that with Find Familiar, of course, the animal that you get is a little bit different than its type, and for each level that a mage gets, it gets 1 added to its hit points. I mean, there's a reason why one of the funniest jokes in the 1E the 1E Dungeon Master's Guide is one of these guys holding up a wizard, holding a knife to his familiar's throat, which is a cat, and saying, "Hand us over the money, or the familiar gets it." Because if the familiar dies, the mage gets borked. To use a term.
I'm going to cast Summon Tangent at the moment.
Okay.
Give you a war story.
Go.
We were adventuring in Waterdeep. We were doing Undermountain. We were based out of Darnan's Inn of the Yawning Portal, of course.
Yep.
In the course of one of our forays into Undermountain, we lost our mage. We still had his familiar, a giant bat.
Okay.
2 of the party members, the Birchin halfling and my half-ogre, decided we were hungry and ate the bat.
You went Ozzy on the familiar.
Boiled it. We had a great stew.
Oh.
A couple of hours later,
wow.
2 shady halfling types deliver a wrapped body bag of a mage to us, because their plan had originally been to hold the mage hostage and demand ransom, but he keeled over and died on them, mysteriously.
Yeah, that's the one.
The time of the hors d'oeuvres.
That's the major drawback to having a familiar. If the familiar dies, there's a good possibility that your mage is going to die. And even if he doesn't die, he loses a level of experience, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Permanent
bad things happen.
Constitution damage. I can look it up. It's generally not good.
No, it's not.
Good.
I had a DM once try to give my mage character a baboon for a familiar. I told him no.
That's funny.
Next thing I know, my butt's going to start turning red, and I'm going to have the urge to fling crap, and I didn't want to do it.
I like the way they took care of it in Knights at the Dinner Table.
Oh yeah.
Where they have a case where the guy's he's casting Find Familiar, and he's so absolutely certain he's going to get what he wants, and a creature shows up. And it's Knights at the Dinner Table standard, where the familiar actually shows up, and it's not what he didn't think that's his familiar, and he's driving it off, and he's dead certain something else is his familiar, and he's trying to treat it like a familiar. He's tying it down to keep it around because it's trying to flee.
Yeah, obsessive players. Nice at Dinner Table, as funny as it is, it's a cautionary tale.
It could be.
It is. But, yeah, I mean, so the thing is, by the time you get up to, full on, when you're a mage, you start casting 6th level spells at 13th level, correct? Or is it 11th? I forget. But by the time you get up that high, your
lizard and toad are just not going to cut it.
No, absolutely not. I mean, especially when you're going on high risk, high reward adventures where, any 0 level human would die within 5 seconds of arriving on site. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, these are just better familiars for that level.
6th level spells at 12th level.
12th, thank you.
And of course, that's only one, so if you had the spell to spare, would you really go for that, or would you go for one of the more interesting things that go boom?
Point. Well,
you save this for a spare spell when you're going to have time to hang around your tower.
Well, if you're going from 11th to 12th, you should have enough money to buy at least 5 or 6 level spells just on principle, on general principle. But yeah.
True.
But
This is the kind of spell that you really want to run up off of a scroll somewhere.
Oh yeah,
allocating your own personal spellbook time to researching it out, unless you're trying to make special spells to get the right companion for you or whatever.
And have to tie it down to keep it from running away.
And by the way,
come on down to Fast Eddie's, use scrolls. I got the scroll for you. Trust the source.
By the way, all these familiar type spells, they say that the magic is so powerful it can only be attempted once a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the thing is, there is no certainty that once you cast it, that something's going to come up to you. Mm-hmm. There's no guarantee of that. You cast
it. Time of 12 hours. Let's have a wandering monster check.
Oh, that's why you have your friends just in the vicinity, and just keeping a lookout. Because that's bad news.
Has that damn thing showed up yet?
Mm-hmm.
Just sit here.
Yeah, exactly. Is he?
And some of these cases, you can end up with a really, really bad case of. This is one where you got to start working with your GM and have or your DM has to have an idea of how he wants to have this spell manifest, because there's the way it's written and there's the way the DMs have it work. Sometimes they have things wander up out of the woods. Sometimes they have them magically appear.
Yep.
Especially, say, if you get an imp.
Oh, God.
Which you may or may not get as a familiar, but one might show up anyway, and do you know?
Oh, man. Yeah,
when I first saw the name I was reading Find Companion, I thought, this is what the Rangers use.
Oh,
get their animal companions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no. That just happens.
Does it?
Yeah, basically how that works is that as the ranger just goes through his career, once he reaches a certain level, it's up to the DM when it happens, but all of a sudden they could be scouting out orcs or whatever, and all of a sudden, for argument's sake, this wolf comes out of nowhere and just stays near the ranger.
Party members that decide that they want some extra XP or a trendy handbag.
Oh my God.
When the owl bear wanders out of the tree line or the wolf decides to start becoming a camp follower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is they go into that because the behavior of a companion is so much different than a normal animal. Like go ahead, Glenn.
No, I was just going to say, this is why you don't play a swamp mage with a gator as a companion. Oh, nice boots. Where'd you get them? Wait a minute. Where's my...
Yeah, then the mage keels over dead.
In Lake Placid, was those gators her familiars?
I haven't seen Lake. Oh God, that horror movie you mean?
Yeah.
Oh God, I haven't seen that one. I know what you're talking about, but I haven't seen the movie. But
it's just the crazy old lady who lived by a lake who got rid of her husband by feeding it to the gators.
Might be. Fallen Ranger, perhaps.
Yeah.
But we digress. Tangent.
It's a suitable tangent.
Yes, it is. So.
Is it a tangent if it's parallel?
No, it's not. A tangent means it's just at an oblique angle to the main topic or something.
Folks, how do you treat your familiars?
Sorry.
Tell us
we went on a tangent for a tangent. Wow.
Tell us about
I'll call that a topic tree.
Oh, man.
Like the phone tree, if you want to talk about this tangent, press 1. If you want to talk about if you want to go to the next thing, press 3. Okay. Yeah, tell us about it at thacoshammer@gmail.com and all the other places. On to the snipe hunt.
If you only had a living brain.
What do you think? Escaped gorilla?
Listen, you're making enough noise to wake up the dead.
I don't have to wake him up. He's up.
It's time for a snipe hunt.
Okay, Snipe Hunt, we're back in the Vistara country, and we're going to do a little throwback here, the Wyrd, W-Y-R-D.
Yes.
Which first arrived in the basic creature catalog.
Mm-hmm. And I adapted that to my campaign instantly. And, yeah, I mean, Wyrds are basically undead creatures with strong connections to the positive energy plane, which is kind of strange in its own way. Basically, when evil spirit inhabits the dead body of an elf, that's how they're created. They are immaterial figures clad in dark hooded robes with a dark skeletal face, and the hands have flesh but thin and gnarled, and they hold red or green spears about the size of a grapefruit.
So a corporeal version of the Banshee. Got it.
Sort of. Not quite as powerful, but yeah. Basically go ahead, Glenn.
And they throw these.
Yes. 90, a range of 90, which is 90 feet, which is 18 squares. Sorry.
Okay. And it explodes.
Yes.
A D6 point of damage against most opponents.
Yep.
But 1d6 plus 3 against elves. And I'm quoting out a creature catalog from Basic.
That is correct. You are right on target.
Okay. And since it is in Basic in the creature catalog, that means they are in Mystara.
Yes.
So, see how I linked that in? See what I did there? See how I linked that in?
Yeah, I see what you did there.
See what you did there? Okay. Anyway, you were saying, go on.
When TSR put out the Monsters Compendium for the Mystara relaunch, they included this creature in it, and it's one of my favorites. Basically what happens is that when you encounter these, if there are any elves in the party, the weird will attack them and ignore everybody else to try and kill the elf.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
go ahead.
Go on. I want to hear what the rest of it does.
Let's see. Like with most undead, they're immune to poison, sleep, charm, and hold spells, and they can only be harmed by silver or magical weapons. And they're turned as wraiths on the turn undead chart.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they have higher tiers of them as well.
Yes.
I'm looking in the back of the Elves of Alfheim, and there's a Greater Weird.
Yes. I have that here too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically a wraith with a ranged weapon.
Without the level drain, by the way.
Yeah, without the drain, but they can throw stuff at you.
Yeah, yeah. And, the Greater Weirds inflict 1 to 10 plus 3 against elves. Or is it 6? I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
They have a paralysis option as well, and I think that does not apply immunity to elves.
Yeah.
That's the Greater Weird that has the paralysis option.
Yeah. Each time you get hit by the globe they throw, you take 1 to 10 points of damage and make a save versus paralyze, or be paralyzed for 2 to 8 turns. Elves suffer 1d10 plus 5, but they are still immune to the paralyze effect.
Right. So the red's explosion, the green is what paralyzes you.
Mm-hmm. Well, with the great. Go ahead.
Oh, good. No. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, with the Greater Weirds, their spears are just green. It's not a choice between red or green.
Okay. And you will be paralyzed for 2d4 turns.
Yep. 2 to 8 turns, yes.
Just long enough to be meat.
Yeah. Well, the thing that's bad about it is that any creature viewing a Greater Weird has to save versus spell or be stricken with a dreadful chill that causes a -3 to attack and damage rolls while fighting it. Yeah.
That's like a fear. Almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it can only be and it stays in force until the weird is destroyed, the next sunrise, or until the victim receives a remove curse spell from a caster of at least 9th level.
Wow, that's not even like, lay hands, do a heal, and it'll go away, like fear. Remove fear, which is a smaller, lower level spell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy.
And they're turned as ghosts on the undead chart.
Oh, the Greater Weirds?
Yes, the greater ones, yes. So, really, really, really tough to kill.
What were you saying, full on?
Oh, nothing. I was just following along.
Oh, okay. So, okay, Brian, if they're one of your favorites, how have you used them in the past?
One of the ways that I've used them is random encounters, especially like if you're in an elven region, like say the nation of Alfheim or somewhere else where elves are prevalent. Because I can just see these things going.
Or better yet, where elves used to be prevalent and died.
That was my second point. ruins. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could see hundreds of these things occupying like Mithranor or something like that.
I was just thinking.
Over.
Or even just places like, or just the rest of Cormyr, because it was an ancient elven kingdom before it was a human kingdom.
Yeah.
Or any other place in Mystara that would meet that moot of places that everybody invaded and took over from them.
Absolutely. If you wanted to run the second edition relaunch, you could have these things wandering in large numbers in basically the ruins of Alfheim to prevent the elves from trying to take it back. But
come back to Alfheim, we will take you.
Yes, we will take you.
Here's just got an idea.
Go ahead.
Do they work well with other undead type? No, wait. You said they were lawful, or
they're chaotic evil.
They're chaotic evil. Okay, because I was thinking like down in the tomb with what are the ones that we crypt things and crypt servants.
Oh yeah.
Well, in the adventure included in the Elves of Alfheim, there is the monster listing of the weirds, but then in the back about the adventures, they talk about this cluster of 5 weirds that are the bodies of the shadow elves who have become weirds and are totally loyal to the Lich, and then the Great Beard, who is a former shadow elf wizard.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I can see them working.
They definitely fall into the undead hierarchy of power and can be quite certainly be part of a intelligent acting bunch of death minions.
Mm-hmm. Right. I could see a greater weird being the like silent enforcer for an evil necromancer. Who has like lesser undead, but this one is sort of his, his Darth Vader to his Emperor.
I could see a Lich or something like that.
Lich has got to have a guy around who's got some balls.
Well, I could see him have a greater weird as his main lieutenant, with crypt things and crypt servants and regular weirds as shock troops.
Yeah, I could see it.
They're the guys that throw the explosions before the crypt things go in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely see it.
And it does help to have actual corporeal undead minions as opposed to nothing but hordes of specters, so you can pick up and carry off the loot.
Yep.
Or the captives.
Yeah. Or the captives to be added to your undead army. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean these things now. Greater weirds can fly. Lesser weirds have 4 hit dice. Greater weirds have 8. Like I said, you could put them in forests. You could put them in ruins of any sort. You could have them, be the lieutenant for like a necromancer or a lich or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are very useful, very, very useful undead creatures, especially against parties who have lots of elves.
Yeah. Good utility players.
Oh yeah, certainly.
I'm sure you folks have used them out there, haven't you? Have you ever used these full on?
Weirds, no. I believe I've run up against them once or twice.
Really?
But I haven't had a chance to run them as a DM.
Well, it looks like you got out alive, so.
Well, our general approach to corporeal undead is to send in somebody dual-wielding rods of resurrection as beat sticks. You don't know how angry a lich gets when you cast Raise Dead.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. Or if it was Corey, it would be the wand of chromatic orbs.
Yeah. Yeah, his Roman Campbell idea, yes.
Yes.
We need to get him back on at some point.
Yeah, maybe we use a wand on him. I don't know. But, yeah. Weirds, a lot of fun. You'll find them in the creature catalog for basic. You'll find them in the Mystara Monstrous Compendium. Now, in the Monstrous Compendium, for the loose leaf ones, but what about the Monstrous Manual? Is there a Mystara Monstrous Manual?
No, because when they were putting out when they put out the Monstrous Manual, this is way before the relaunch. They actually made a compendium for specific creatures native to Mystara.
Right, I remember that. It was for the loose leaf binder. But what I'm saying is, did they make it into any of the annuals or anything? Or
not that I know of, no.
So that's the only place you'll find it.
Yeah, in the Monstrous Compendium for Mystara, yes.
I seem to remember they did annuals, but then they did 1 or 2 books of specific game worlds. So
I seem to recall there was some kind of Mystara Black Book compendium of monsters. I don't know if the weird would have been included in it.
Guys,
yes.
that's what I was talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's that. There's the actual gazetteer itself, if you can lay your hands on that. 9223, Elves of Alfheim.
Yep.
Or just get yourself a copy of the creature catalog and go from there.
Yeah, which you can probably find for cheap. Yes.
Yes, you can. It's not the easiest thing to find, but once you find it, it'll be pretty reasonable. I mean,
and it'll give you tons of ideas of how to use it.
Doesn't matter whether you get the original one or the rewrite, because they're both in there and they both have the same stats, and you could just adapt that to second.
Yep.
So there you go. The weird. How about that? THACOshammer@gmail.com and all the other places. Well, we're going to be closing this splat book up. Say goodbye to the world of Mystara. I hope we gave you enough information so you can think about looking for this stuff. And if you find any gadgeteers, don't tell me.
Well, you still got to get on Ancient Gamer about him sending you his.
Oh, I'm just trying to be nice and not say anything. If
he might have forgotten.
It happens. I'm not gonna pressure him on it.
No.
I mean, just all I want is like Karamekios and maybe the Dwarves of Rockholm or something, just something to go on. But
those are two best ones.
Yeah, I'm not going to be greedy.
Thar. You want Thar. If nothing else, you want Thar for the character sheet in the back.
Oh, yeah, I saw that on the PDF. That's hilarious.
Or
character sheet.
Yes.
Troll hat, enough said. You lose. You lose.
All right.
But anyway, we digress.
Time to wrap this up, folks. Paul, you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye, Gamer Nation. Welcome more to THACO's Hammer. Garr.
How about my dog, Brian?
What
Brian is? Oh.
Sorry. Until next time we meet, farewell.
Yeah, that's the crew. And next time we meet, I was going to farewell.
I knew you were going to do that.
I'll see you folks next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer. Bye-bye. THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find more of his music on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at THACOshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at THACOshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. You can also find us on the second edition forums at osrgaming.org and at purpleworm.org. Or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.